Okay. Hi, I'm Dave.
I'm Jennifer, and we are a middle-aged couple with a Regal Unlimited subscription and an unrelenting fetish for movie popcorn.
And a Gen X inability to start a video program. Sorry about that. It's not the millennial pause. It's like the Gen X. What does this button do? Okay, so hi. Yes, we love movie theater popcorn, and we have Regal Unlimited subscriptions. And we are making a video for every movie we see together in 2025. And we went and saw a movie today, didn't we?
We did.
Dear?
We
did.
did.
We see a movie today?
I was there.
Okay. We saw The Running Man, the new one, the Edgar Wright version, which is not so much a remake of the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie as it is an adaptation of the original novel. The Arnold Schwarzenegger adaptation was a very loose adaptation of the novel. This was an attempt to do a much more, faithful adaptation of the Richard Bachman / Stephen King novel from 1982. And the funny thing about that is, so this movie, well, what year was this movie supposed to be set in?
It doesn't say.
It doesn't say.
I think it's supposed to be just like an alternate universe, alternate time period.
Yes.
But the book is supposed to take place in the far distant future of 2025.
Which is fascinating because the Arnold Schwarzenegger version was set in 2017. And I think that they just didn't want to put it so far in the future that it was like some unthinkable distant time frame.
Yeah, they made it 40 years from when they made the original movie.
There you go.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we should probably try not to do spoilers, right?
I mean, why?
Because this movie is significantly different from the Arnold Schwarzenegger version.
I suppose. Okay. Sure.
And I think we recommend it, don't
we? Yeah, no, definitely recommend it.
We both enjoyed those. It's got its flaws, but it's pretty good compared to most of the movies we saw this year.
Yeah.
I would say, so we just saw Shaun of the Dead.
Yes.
Another Edgar Wright film. Yeah, one of our top 10 of the year. This, probably not in the top 10.
No. I mean, it has, among its flaws, it is simply too long. And it's like all movies these days are too long, right? Like, we are spending $700 billion to make a movie. Like, your ass is going to come to the movie theater. You're going to see a movie. This was a 90-minute movie, right? Stretched out longer. Like, okay. There were a couple of extra beats, but I don't know that those beats really added anything.
So, other flaws. There's a little clunky dialogue.
There's some clunky dialogue. The movie, I mean, if you know anything about the plot of this movie, because, we can assume that people know generally what it's about.
Premise,
yeah, like... that The Running Man is this reality television show, right? Like, if you can survive on the streets of the country without being seen for 30 days, you'll win $1 billion new dollars with no explanation of, like, why they're new dollars as opposed to old dollars. But when you see them, the $100 new dollar bill has an Arnold Schwarzenegger on it with no explanation, which is great. And so, in that way, this movie very much predicted 2025, to be honest. Like, the, reality show nature of it, the surveillance nature of it, which when the book was written and when the first movie came out is, people seeing something and making a phone call.
Yeah.
But the way that people surveil themselves, as we are doing right now, and surveil each other, is like very predicted. And, the gloriousness that, the joy that people take in the debasement of those deemed to be evil or other, right, is we're also playing out in politics at the moment. So, like, it rings so true for 2025. And then the movie has this kind of more revolutionary rather than goofy attitudes towards it, because the 87 movie is it's it's played more for humor
Yes.
than the book plays it, or that I remember the book playing
definitely.
it. And the movie doesn't play it for humor in the same way.
I mean, this one is less played for humor than the Schwarzenegger.
Yes.
What I think is correct, but still, this movie there's a fair amount of comedy in this movie.
Some? I wouldn't say a fair amount.
Your mileage may vary. I think it's, it's not exactly the most serious movie. So, one interesting thing about this movie is, so I saw The Long Walk earlier this year. You did not.
I did not.
And much like The Long Walk, so The Long Walk and The Running Man are both Bachman novels. They're Richard Bachman novels, which was a pseudonym that Stephen King used early in his career for the really nasty stuff that he didn't want to publish under his own name. And there are 4 Bachman novels originally. He wrote more later. I don't know why. But those original 4, 2 of them are absolutely unreadable trash, and they are just horrible.
What are the other 2 that I don't remember?
Road Work, and I can't even remember the name of the 4th one. It is no longer in print. It is the only Stephen King novel not in print.
Those 4 books came out as
Rage.
One edition.
Yes.
And that's how I read it. And I just don't remember the plots of the other ones.
Road Work is about a man who he's going through a divorce, or his wife died or something, and then it turned the state has started building a highway outside of his house, and he's so frustrated by this that he ends up blowing up the highway, while listening to Rolling Stones songs. That is literally the entire book.
Okay.
And it's not good. It's not readable. Rage, the 4th one, is it's told from the point of view of a school shooter.
Oh, okay.
Who is made sympathetic in the story.
Okay.
And although I don't think he shoots anyone except the teacher.
Well, but, that's usually who deserves it. So I get you.
Come on. But it's just a real it's just a really dark book, and you literally cannot find it anymore.
Yeah.
Stephen King has taken it out of publication and refuses to let anybody republish it. I understand why. And the other 2 books, the Bachman books, are science fiction classics, and everybody loves them. So The Long Walk and The Running Man have very similar plots. They're both about futures where the United States has descended into a kind of fascism. Futures. And
it was future when he wrote it.
Where
avoidable when he wrote it.
And also to extreme poverty. So everyone in both of these books lives in extreme poverty. And for the most part, there's a ruling class. In The Long Walk, it's a military ruling class. And in The Running Man, it's the media ruling class for some reason.
Well, big corporations, because it's the corporation owns the media and owns everything else.
I guess, but the deal is that the network has specifically bought the police.
Right, but
the police now work for the television network.
Understood, but I think the network is the corporation.
Sure.
And that the corporation has bought everything, the media, the police, and other businesses as well.
Absolutely. So the point is that there's this ruling class, and then everybody else is living in extreme poverty. And in both books and in both movies, the premise is that the government has instituted, in one case, a reality show, in the other, a sort of competition, an athletic competition, by which you can raise yourself and your family out of poverty and become one of the ruling class. But to do this, you have to then undergo extraordinary physical trials that lead to horrible violence. So in The Long Walk, it's a bunch of teenage boys who are just told to keep walking until there's only one left. And anybody who falters for even a minute gets shot. In this, The Running Man, one man, or 3 people actually, are released into the public, but there's a bounty on their heads, and any citizen of the United States can claim a huge cash reward for turning them in. So it's just a paranoid fantasy of just everybody is out to get you. And it's fascinating. So I watched The Long Walk and I watched Running Man in the same year, made by very different directors. And I would say that The Long Walk was so brutal and so humorless, that this movie felt very much like a comedy by comparison.
Sure, maybe by comparison, but I don't think it's actually particularly funny. There are moments of humor,
Yeah.
but it's not a funny movie. And yeah, The Long Walk as a book I remember reading and read once whenever I read it in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And when that movie came out, I'm like, I can't imagine a movie I want to see less.
It's pretty
like,
rough.
no way. And
I will say it was very well made, and it absolutely did justice to the book.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I'm interrupting.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Okay. It's a good movie. It's just, it's a brutal story. And it's a story about bodies breaking down over time under extreme duress and young men dying needlessly. Running Man lends itself to more of an action film kind of feel because it's these constant fight scenes and narrow escapes and, people jumping in pink convertibles and driving away into the night in cowboy outfits, which is where I think some of the comedy comes in.
That moment is not actually funny. Like, that's the point.
Okay.
It's like, it's this humorous moment on the TV show. It is funny. There's literally nothing actually funny about it, right? Where in the 87 movie, now also I was substantively younger, right? So if I were my age and my experience watching the 87 movie, I might have found it less humorous too, but I don't think so. I think it was legitimately played where the people that work for the TV show that are hunting down our hero in the 87 movie are more larger than life and goofy kind of figures. You describe them as being like American Gladiators, right? Where in this movie they are just killers, right? And, it seemed like they almost take a joy in the killing. And
they had this weird, like, 1940s military vibe.
Sort of.
Yeah. Like they're wearing, like, old-fashioned uniforms.
Yeah. And so, I guess for me, it's like there's moments of humor, but I would say there really is nothing funny about it. And many of the moments that are supposed to be humorous are show movement moments in the Running Man television show that you are seeing happening in real time in some parts of the movie. So, I don't actually find anything about that TV show actually funny. So, But Coleman Domingo is the host of the show, which is a character that doesn't exist in the 87 movie, and I don't think is a character that exists in the book as well.
It's the Richard Dawson character. He has the same name. No, he doesn't have the same name. That's right.
No.
Okay,
in the movie, they split that character into two parts.
Into two parts, right.
We talked about this.
Yes.
Yeah. So Josh Brolin plays the producer of the TV show,
Killian,
and who has the same last name, although not the same first name, as the character that Richard Dawson plays in the 1987 movie.
Right.
But that is, in the 1987 movie, Richard Dawson is the director of the whole thing, the producer of the whole thing, and he's the host of the show. And those are two different people in this movie. So Coleman Domingo is the host of the show, and Josh Brolin is the producer of the show. And so Coleman Domingo basically just is like this over-the-top host and gets to just chew on the screen on the moments he's on the screen, and he's fantastic. Glorious.
He's the best actor in this
film. I loved it,
Okay,
and Glen Powell is solid in this role, and he's meant to be this everyday guy, but yet angry everyday guy, and angry because he's been screwed over by the system already, and he's very aware of having been screwed over by the system already. Didn't really intend to end up in this situation, but ends up in this situation. And is gonna make his way through, And
what did you think of the casting of Glen Powell in this role?
I mean, everyman, hot man, there's a scene where he runs around in a towel,
and then he drops the towel.
He drops the towel, but then there's no butt, so it's fine. The IMDb says that in the past of trying to figure out what to do with this movie, there were talks about Chris Hemsworth or Chris Evans or those type of people be in this movie. And at this point, like, Glen Powell is who Hollywood wants us to be the next person who's in those types of movies.
Sure.
So that made sense. I mean, the only thing that I don't know anything about this man personally, right? Like, this movie is very much on the side of, modern corporate takeover of politics and thinking and everything else, and that kind of manipulation is bad, and that, unions are good, and pushing back and revolution is good. And I don't know that I believe that Glen Powell actually believes that.
Yeah.
And so that was the part of it that was kind of like, I really don't see you actually saying something like this in your life.
Yep.
Even if you are a member of the Actors Guild, which you probably are. And that didn't ring particularly true.
Yeah.
But, like, just him as an actor and him as, like, the kind of actor he's supposed to be. Like, yes, he's supposed to be in this movie. He does a good job in it, right? Yeah. Like, he doesn't do a bad job in it. But, it really wouldn't surprise me if he were a Trumper. So,
Okay, that aside, I think that, and no shade on Glen Powell. For all we know, he's a great guy. He seems very pleasant. We watched him in Hitman, and we thought that was great.
Yeah, and apparently they, in convincing
Stephen King
that Glen Powell was the right person to be in this movie, IMDb says Edgar Wright had Stephen King watch Hitman, which, yes, I would have cast him in many movies after seeing him in Hitman as well. Like,
Hitman was great.
That was a delightful little movie, and he was really good in it.
See, that's the thing, though, and I think that Glen Powell is miscast here just as much as Arnold Schwarzenegger was. Arnold Schwarzenegger was never a man of the people.
Yeah.
Like, they tried to sell him that way a couple times. I just never bought it.
And in Total
He's
Recall.
10 times the size of a normal man of the people.
Yeah.
Glen Powell is too chiseledly handsome. He doesn't look like a working class dude.
Well, there is no one that looks like a man of the people that is in movies. So you could
have found somebody. And
who is somebody that you've ever heard of as an actor, which is what would be required to get this movie made?
Pedro Pascal.
No. One, he's too old. Oscar Isaac looks like a man of the
people.
people.
But he's a little scruffier. That's what I wanted. So
he's scruffier, but he's too old.
Okay. There are options.
Who?
I'm going to go with Lee Pace.
Who's older than all of them?
Fine.
No.
Anyway. Okay. But I think that Glen Powell is just too pleasant. I think that he's too nice. And that's not a thing I think is a, fault. I think nice people are good people. I like nice people. But this character is, like, literally described in one scene as the angriest person that the network psychologist has ever met.
Yeah.
The angriest person who's ever come through that door. And we see his psychological screening, and he's basically, like, faking his way through half of it, and then finally gives in and says the most depraved thing he can think of. And I didn't buy it. I didn't buy that he was angry at any point during this movie. I felt like this was a man, the plot requires him to be a man who would be like a revolutionary leader, if not for the fact that he needed to protect his wife and child. And he goes through a transformation in the movie where he stops being just a family man and becomes something more. And I didn't buy it. I just felt like Glen Powell was just like, hey, it sure is fun to be here on set today, folks. Let's make a great movie. I didn't get this movie is going to burn down, Warner Brothers Studios.
Skydance, but and Skydance Paramount, but yeah, no, I agree with you, right? Like it had all the right words, but it didn't have the heart, and yeah, it didn't have the heart because of the acting, and I don't know how much of that is the directing or the choice versus the choice of the actor. Like, I don't know that there's anybody they could have put in that they would have been willing to cast that would have carried that off better.
So
you know,
I like.
it's also thinking about the dialogue, right? Like the dialogue is stilted. Like
Yeah.
so, some of the dialogue is stilted in order to give this like, you know, revolutionary-ish kind of feel to it,
Mm-hmm.
and then, yeah, I mean, I see what you mean about Glen Powell as like more, you know, like pleasant or pretty looking or
Jovial.
whatever.
Yeah.
But
It's so without spoiling anything, Edgar Wright clearly thought that this movie was going to make some profound political point, and it was going to be the moment when shit got real, and for Hollywood, and I just don't think Glen Powell pulls that off.
yeah, and I guess you're putting that on Glen Powell. I think this movie doesn't pull it off.
That's fair.
Because there's some decisions that are not, particularly at the end of the movie, there's some decisions that aren't about acting. There are decisions about how you make this plot that pull its punches on that.
Yep.
But then, yeah, there are things about him that also pull the punches on that. Yeah, it's a corporate movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's only going to be so revolutionary. To be honest, though, I actually find it more revolutionary than One Battle After Another.
100% agree.
And, you know, I like, yeah. and more honest about what's actually needed to accomplish revolution.
I hate to say it, but I think that One Battle After Another was like anti-revolutionary.
The makers of that movie do not think that's what it is.
I know.
And half the people that watch that movie and like it don't think that's what it is. I agree with you that that's what I think it is.
Yeah.
But if it's a battle of public opinion, I am in the wrong here, and I'm not. I don't know that I'm going to live long enough to understand why. So that's fine.
Well, we're not really looking for Hollywood to lead the revolution right now. Certainly, that's not going to come from that quarter if something happens. But you know, that clearly they're trying to get on the side of the angels. So I guess more power to them. And certainly more power to Edgar Wright, who clearly wanted this movie to say something to us.
Yeah.
To the people who saw it.
Yeah.
Not just to the people who paid for it. And yeah, and again, we do recommend this movie. It's fun. It's a really entertaining movie. And absolutely worth seeing.
Yeah. It has other little Easter eggs in reference to like things Stephen King and stuff. Mm-hmm. I don't think there's any other reference to the original movie besides the
Arnold Schwarzenegger dollars.
Besides the Arnold Schwarzenegger dollars, you know.
Oh, and there was a store called Bachman's.
Yeah, that's not a reference to the original movie. That's a Stephen King
reference.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
But yeah. So I don't know if there are any other nods to the original movie, but.
Okay.
But yeah, no, it's good. It's solid. You know, like. Yeah, and it's. I mean, you know, the book and the story and the plot of the whole thing, whether or not you pull your revolutionary punches, is a very real reflection of the world in which we currently live.
Yep.
In a way that I think most people that watch it, you know, would see, oh yeah, like reality TV is like this, but, you know, like nothing else is like this besides reality TV. And it's like, no, this is what the Department of Homeland Security is doing. You know what I mean? Like, this is like, in a way, it's a little bit too real, you know?
Yep.
So, yeah.
Okay. Well, until next time. Bye.